Howdy, howdy, my fellow gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Storytime with Freak. Today, as we dive into Chapter 21 of Neal Shusterman's Thunderhead, we're making progress, guys. We're about almost halfway through the book. That's a good thing. It should only take about 2 more years to finish this series. I'm just kidding. Alright, without further ado, let's dive right on in. People will often ask me what task is the most odious of my many jobs, which is the one I find most unpleasant to perform. I always answer truthfully. The worst part of my job is supplanting. It is rare that I must supplant the memories of a damaged human mind. By current accounting, only 1 in 933,684 needs to be supplanted. I wish it were not necessary at all, but the human brain is not infallible. Memories and experiences can fall into discord, creating a cognitive dissonance that damages the mind with its painful sibilance. Most people can't even imagine the kind of emotional anguish. It leads to anger and the kind of criminal activity that otherwise has been conquered by modern humanity. To all those who suffer from it, there aren't enough psychotropic nanites in the world to quell their misery. So there are a rare few whom I must reset, like an old-world computer rebooting. I erase who they are, what they've done, and the dark spiral of their thought patterns. It's not just an erasure of who they are, because I give them a brand new self. New memories of a life lived in harmony. It is no mystery to them that I've done this. I always confess to them exactly what has occurred as soon as the new memories are in place. And since they have no history left to mourn, no frame of reference for the loss, they always, without exception, thank me for supplanting their former selves. They always, without exception, go on to live fruitful, satisfying lives. But the memories of who they were, all the damage, all the pain, remain with me, sheltered deep in my back brain. I am the one who mourns for them, because they cannot. The Thunderhead. Chapter 21. Was I in any way unclear? We're going to kill us a couple of sights, Purity had said. Her words, the way she relished the idea and the realization that she was fully capable of doing it, kept Grayson awake that night, the words playing over and over in his head. Grayson knew what he had to do. It was what decency, loyalty, and his own conscience demanded, and yes, he still did have a conscience, even in his own unsavory life. He tried not to think about it. If he thought about it too much, it would tear him apart. Granted, his mission from the Authority interface was an unofficial mission, but that's what made it all the more important. He was the linchpin, and the Thunderhead itself, from its distance, was relying on him. Without Grayson, it would fail. The Scythes, Anastasia, or Kiri, or both, could end up permanently dead. If that happened, it meant that everything he had been through, from saving their lives the first time to losing his position at the Nimbus Academy and surrendering his whole life, all of it would have been for naught. He could under no circumstances let his personal feelings get in the way. Rather, he needed to bend his personal feelings to fit the task. He would have to betray Purity. But it wouldn't be a betrayal at all, he reasoned. If he stopped her from carrying out this terrible act, he'd be saving her from herself. The Thunderhead would forgive her for being a part of the failed plot. It forgave everyone. It was frustrating that she still didn't give him the details of the plan, so all he could give Traxler was the date the attack would take place. He didn't know when, how, or where. Since every unsavory had probational meetings with the Nimbus agent, his meetings with Traxler did not make Purity suspicious at all. Say something that pisses your Nimbo off, Purity told him when he left her that morning. Say something that leaves him speechless. It's always fun to tip a Nimbo off balance. I'll do my best, he told her, then kissed her, and left. As usual, the Office of Unsavory Affairs was noisy and full of activity. Grayson took a number, waited his turn with more impatience than ever, and was directed to an audience room where he waited for Traxler to show up. The last thing Grayson wanted was to be left with his own thoughts now. The more he allowed them to bounce around in his head, the more likely they were to collide. Finally, the door opened, but it wasn't Agent Traxler who entered. It was a woman. She wore heels that clicked on the floor as she walked. Her hair was an orange velvet buzz, and she wore lipstick that was a little too red for her face. Good morning, Slade, she said as she sat down. I'm Agent Creel. I'm your new probation officer. How are you today? Wait. What do you mean, my new probation officer? She typed on her tablet, never even looking up at him. Was I in any way unclear? But I need to talk to Traxler. Finally, she looked up at him. She crossed her hands politely on the table and smiled. If you'll give me a chance, Slade, you'll find I'm every bit as qualified as Agent Traxler. In time, you may even come to consider me a friend. She looked back down at her tablet. Now, I've been acquainting myself with your case. You are, to say at least, an interesting young man. How familiar are you with my case? Grayson asked. Well, your record is pretty detailed. Grew up in the Grand Rapids, minor infractions in high school, an international bus plunge that left you in substantial debt. Not that stuff, Grayson said, trying to keep the panic out of his voice. The things that aren't on my record. She looked up at him a little guarded. What sort of things? Clearly, she was not privy to his mission, which meant this conversation was going nowhere. He thought of what Purity said, piss off his agent. He didn't care about pissing off this agent. He just wanted her gone. Screw this. I need to talk to Agent Traxler. I'm afraid that's not possible. The hell it's not. You're going to get Traxler in here, and you're going to do it now. She put down her tablet and looked at him again. She didn't argue. She didn't respond to his belligerence. She didn't offer him her practice Nimbo smile either. Her expression seemed a bit pensive, almost honest, almost sympathetic. But not really. I'm sorry, Slade, she said, but Agent Traxler was gleaned last week. And that is already the end of Chapter 21. So thank you all for watching this short video. I will have another episode out on Sunday. Feel free to check out the links down below, join the Discord, and join the community that is the Circus and the Gamers of the Roundtable. Feel free to check out the Twitch and the Twitter, see what we're up to, and as always, stay freaky.